I built a simple macOS application for myself to solve one specific problem that I had, and it's called Wipe Not. The main purpose is fully block my MacBook when I want to clean it physically. Just one shortcut to lock and another to unlock, and that's it. But I'm not going to show you how to build this product, but I want to show you the process, the framework that I use whenever I want to build something or I want to learn something with AI. You need just to use this framework if you want to receive the quality result from AI. So today I want to focus on two projects. The first one is White Knot. I'm currently working on that project. It's project for myself and I mentioned about this project. It's the main purpose, as I mentioned, about clean my Mac physically. And main idea here is fully block my MacBook. Keyboard, screen, all sensors, and etc. The second one, it's about its learning project, completely different area. It's not about development. And here I want to learn and go deeply in famous composers, how they work, how they created the music, how they process this creation, and about their life. And also, I added here some time to read iOS app application. Currently, this application live on App Store, but I use the same process for development that project. The link for this app will be in description. You can try it. But now let's focus the framework that you can use for different areas like learning, development, or whatever you want. But you will receive the nice result that you can use. Well, now let's go to my 4-component method or framework that I use for development or learning purpose or creating something inside my teams. So everything starts from the problem. It's simple document where I always include the problem that I want to resolve and the expected result. And if about the learning, what I want to learn and how I will use these knowledges in the future. Then I always create a structure. It can be mind map, or you can draw in the picture, or ask AI to create for you some flowchart with architecture for your application, some roadmap for your application. And if for learning, it can be learning outline. Then you need to create the product requirement document. It's final document where you will add the problem, the goal, the structure, some roadmap, maybe technical recommendation or learning recommendation, some learning plan, numbers, KPIs, and etc. Some maximum information that will help AI to understand and create a strong project for you. Then I always focus on design because currently UI and UX most important part in our development because a lot of product appears when AI was appeared in our market and every people create AI, but AI generates some generic UI, UX, and here the main point, always focus on UI and UX and give some the nice experience for users. If you create some learning outcome, a learning project, I'd always try to create some nice visual images, covers that motivate me to continue that projects. And the last part of this 4-component method is create the project's setup. You can use Claude Cowork or Claude Chat, Claude Projects inside the Claude app. And here about the AI. AI is a coach, not executor. It's like a mentor in my setup. I always create some instruction and tell and say to AI, but you need to act as a coach. Explain every element. Ask me a question before give me an answer. Explain for me the code. Ask me about how I will to want to resolve this. And help me build some logic and etc. Before give me any answer. And he is different because thinking process stay with me, but AI coach me and give me direction, answer to my question, and ask me the right question. And that's the point. AI is not creating for me everything from A to Z. I know most of people prefer use some approach when to create for me some application, just put one prompt and done. But it's not my approach. My approach, separate to small chunks, then ask AI to explain each of the files, each of the code, each of the steps in my learning plan, for example, and then act as I ask the end. So let's go to the projects and I will describe and show you what kind of elements I included to my each of the projects I mentioned before. So now let's go to project number one. It's a white mode application for macOS, and I created this project to handle my problem when I want to clean my MacBook. I need to block all keyboard press, touchpad interaction, screen off, and off all sensor. And this application handle all these requests and requirements. And here I created the project, and yes, I use Claude app instead of Claude Code because I do some experience, and sometimes I use Claude app for simple projects. But if you want to do a more complicated project, you can go to Claude Code app, or you can use Claude Code in Claude application. It's another tab, or you can use any other application like VC with Claude integration or Cursor and etc. But in this case, I want to show you the Claude app and how it set up the projects. I often start from instruction. I created some instruction that is AI model, and this project will be act as the mentor, and it's professional mentor in building iOS and Mac OS applications. And the mentor must be answer to my questions, give me advice, ask me questions, explain each part of code, each part of steps and etc. Instead of giving me the full code and etc. So, and then I created the files based on my four elements framework for development. I started from product requirement document and included here a lot of information. You can create the same structure starting from problem, solution, describe each on the screen, describe the flow, what you want to include in the first version, what you want to include the next and further versions, and etc. Some technical details. So, but you can start from the template. Just ask AI or any models to create a template. You can ask different AI models create for you a couple of templates for product requirements document. Then define and mix up and create just one template that you will use in the future for the whole your projects. And then ask AI model create product requirement document based on your template for some kind of project that you want to run. So I created the product requirement document, then I separate this product requirement document for stages because I had experience as project and product management, and everything starts from small chunks and steps. And in my case, I separated to stages and deliver each stage and tested each stage to see if it works or no. And then the polish each stage and give me some flexibility, visibility, how to develop and what kind of project I developed now. Then I recommend you after development plan start from user interface. As I mentioned before, user interface for me is so important because it's visual part, it's UX. And in this case, it's simple app, just one screen, but I use Google Stitch. If you haven't watched my video about comparing Claude Design and Google Stitch, link will be here. But for this case, I used Google Stitch. It delivers for me the nice main screen. But for other screens, I use the same concept. And some part of screens I replace with native screens. So this apps works for me. Then I created some architecture, as I mentioned before. It's some baseline for app, how everything interact, what kind of screens, what kind of layers you need to do, you create, where's entry point, where's exit point, and etc. Yeah, it's simple app without any server side, without any database, AI integration, but for complex application, you need to do the same. Start from architecture, then go to develop the app. It's not about the one prompt and you created the app or you created the game. No, you start from baseline. Solution, architectures, problem, project plan, product requirement document, user interface, and then development stage. So, and then when I created everything that I mentioned now, I start from development. I created some chats. I recommend you separate each chat for different stages. But in my case, I show you just one chat because it's simple app and simple features. But for my time to app, I use a bunch of chats for small features and etc. But this project give me context and memory. Yeah, that's why AI model always help me deliver this project. And when I created all these elements, all these files, all these chats, it give me a visibility to scale the product in the future, to add new features, because I know the project, I know the structure, I know the architecture of the project, I know what need to do. AI explain for me each of files, each of function, each of variables that I created. That's why I can scale this project in the future. It's not about the one prompt, as many of people say. It's more complex work. Yeah, it's speed up in 10x, but if you prepare it. So now I want to show you example of response. So here's the example. Example, if I don't know what difference between these two elements for user default manager, AI explain for me this, how this work, when this work, and why I need to keep the class. Then give me some part of code where I need to integrate this code and rewrite. Then ask me the questions before you need some code. I need to think where in the app lifecycle is the earliest place you can check. It's some question that I need to think about app structure, where it is integrated, how it works, and etc. That's why I mentioned about AI. For me, it's like a coach. It asks me the question, then I think how to answer. If I don't know the answer, of course, I can ask explain for me because I don't know that, but it's part of learning something new, not just one prompt and blindness copy and paste. So let's go to next project while we go from start and create this project for learning something new. So now the second project is about the famous composer. I want to learn more about these people, how they created this famous music art, how they spend the time on creation, more about the history, childhood, and etc. Yeah, for me, it's so interesting part of our history and music, and what kind of impact they did in our culture. So I created two folders because I will work with Claude Co-work, but of course you can use different AI models like Claude Chat with Claude projects or Grok projects, Google with Gemini or ChatGPT. But for this case, I will use Claude Co-work. So I created infrastructure. It's based on my framework that I described and that we do. I started from project. I described why I need this project, what I want to learn, a couple of the names, the famous names, etc. Then I created this scope. It's a list of people that I want to dive deep and understand their history and impact in our story. Then I separate this everything to learning roadmap, some reusable template that I will use for each of these famous people. Then I create some composer checklist. It's like small project management task document where I check where is now, what kind of persons I covered, and what the next I want to learn. So then I created the projects in Co-work. I named this project Composers. Connect my folder to these projects, Composers project. Added some instructions. It's about your classic music coach for the famous Composers project, and describe the role, describe some resources, how you should respond, and etc. Where you can put all informations and said here this mistake. Okay, no problem. We can is fixed. So then I start the projects. I start the first run. You can ask what you want. Example, let's go to the person ABCD, and the AI model will go through the template that we created. But I want to show you example of what kind of response I receive and what I can do. So of course I started, because it's first chart, I start from review the project and ask to give me overview the project. And yeah, give me a response about the project and what we will learn. Then I ask start from Mozart, and of course complete our checklist in the future. And what I received a nice document. It's a lot of information. I need to learn more. I need to read this information to understand about the quality. But now I receive what I want about career, majority life events, some turning points. That's enough for me. Music style, maybe yeah, major works. So important for me because I want to listen all this work and compare with the script. Maybe I will ask some question about why was created symphony number 30 or something else. Else also starting pieces. Okay, now how they created creative process. Amazing. I hope this information is true, but we need to double check it. Okay, a lot of information, legacy and influence, and etc. etc. Okay, it's nice document that you can read. Of course, you need to double check if everything is true. You can ask questions in this chat and compare these answers with the document and play some role of critic and etc. But also, AI asked me a couple of questions. I don't know how to answer these questions right now because I need to read this document because I created this project a couple of minutes ago, and for me it's so interesting because we can learn anything with that approach, starting from composers that I created and continue with different cases. So for me, it works. I hope it will work for you. If you have any questions about that, you can ask me in the comments, or if you want to receive more more context about the documents or something from the documents, ask me in the comments. So now let's go to the summary and my vision and conclusion. So after these two projects, I want to share some important things about this approach. Not about speed. Slow process because it takes time. You need to prepare a lot of artifacts, starting from documents, roadmap, user interface, learning process, outline, materials, etc. But these preparations give you visibility and how to act in the next step. It's win game. For example, in development, if you spend time for creating roadmap, for creating architecture for that project, how vision this project, tech stack or structure of your files inside the project, it gives you a lot of visibility how to fix this project in the future, how to grow this project in the future. And it's not just about the one problem. It's more about the deeper and deeper work, but starting from preparation. Same with the learning approach. If I spend the time, yes, I prepared some roadmap, I prepared a list of people, I prepared a template for learning. It takes time. Of course, I did it with AI, but in the future, for the next run, it gives me visibility because I know what I want to learn, what kind of elements added to my project, and etc. That's why this project is so strong, because start from preparation, then you go the step by step to creating the final project, not just one prompt, because it's not my approach. Start from one prompt, one output. I always start slow with more complex preparation, then I can deliver the real projects. Because spend time on preparation and you win the game. So subscribe to my channel because in the future video videos I will share more interesting cases and how I will create something interesting.